Have you ever found yourself in a conversation about your choices, one that starts out fine but quickly turns into a heated argument? You feel your heart rate quicken, your voice get a little louder, and suddenly, you're in a verbal battle you never wanted. You're passionate about your values, and you want to share them, but it feels like you're just hitting a wall. The other person gets defensive, you get frustrated, and by the end, everyone just feels misunderstood and further entrenched in their own views. What if there was a better way? A way to have meaningful, productive conversations that actually inspire curiosity and understanding, rather than creating more division. This isn't about winning an argument. It's about planting a seed of thought, about opening a door to a different perspective without forcing anyone to walk through it. Today, we're going to explore how powerful communication tools, the Socratic method, and active listening can completely transform these difficult conversations. This is your guide to discussing your compassionate lifestyle without the fighting. Let's start with a common scenario. Someone asks you why you choose not to consume certain products. The old you might have launched into a long list of facts and figures, a passionate speech about ethics and the environment. But what often happens? The other person's eyes glaze over, or they immediately start formulating a counter-argument. They're not listening to understand. They're listening to reply. This is where the Socratic method, named after the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, becomes your greatest ally. Instead of making statements, you start asking questions. Socrates believed that genuine knowledge comes from within. By asking thoughtful, open-ended questions, you guide the other person on their own journey of discovery. You're not telling them what to think. You're simply inviting them to examine their own beliefs and the logic behind them. Imagine someone says, "But we've always consumed these things. It's natural." Instead of immediately refuting that, you could ask a gentle question. Something like, "That's an interesting point. What does the word natural mean to you in this context?" Or, "I've thought about that too." You think that just because we've done something for a long time, it automatically makes it the right thing to do? Notice the tone. It's not accusatory. It's genuinely curious. You're inviting a dialogue, not a debate. This approach does a few crucial things. First, it puts the other person in a state of reflection rather than defense. They have to pause and think, rather than just react. Second, it shows that you respect them enough to ask for their opinion. It validates them as a thinking person, which immediately lowers their guard. You're communicating that this is a safe space for them to explore ideas without being judged or attacked. This is the foundation of any productive conversation. Let's try another example. Someone might bring up the idea of personal choice, saying, "Everyone should be free to choose what they eat." A combative response would be to list all the reasons why their choice impacts others. A Socratic approach, however, would be to ask, "I agree that personal choice is incredibly important. Where do you think the line is when one person's choice directly impacts another being?" This question is powerful because it doesn't challenge their core value of freedom. Instead, it invites them to consider the nuances and potential limitations of that value. It encourages them to think about the concept of a victim and whether that concept applies in this situation. You're not providing the answer. You're helping them find it themselves. The key is to ask questions that are open-ended and not leading. Avoid questions that have a simple yes or no answer, or that are just thinly veiled accusations. Instead of, "Don't you care about the planet?" which is accusatory, try something like, "I've been reading a lot about the environmental impact of our food systems. It's quite complex, isn't it? What are your thoughts on it?" This approach turns a potential confrontation into a shared exploration of a complex topic. You're on the same side, looking at a problem together. This brings us to the second, equally important tool, active listening. You can ask the most brilliant questions in the world, but if you're not truly listening to the answers, the conversation will still fall apart. Active listening isn't just waiting for your turn to talk. It's about making a conscious effort to hear not only the words that another person is saying, but, more importantly, the complete message being communicated. This means paying attention to their body language, their tone of voice, and the emotions behind their words. Are they feeling defensive, confused, curious, or maybe even a little guilty? When they finish speaking, don't just jump in with your next point. Take a moment to show you've heard them. You can do this by paraphrasing what they said. For example, if I'm understanding you correctly, you feel that focusing on local food sources is more important than worrying about the type of food itself. Is that right? This simple act of reflection is incredibly powerful. It shows the other person that you are genuinely trying to understand their perspective, even if you don't agree with it. It also gives them a chance to clarify their position if you've misunderstood. This prevents the conversation from going off track based on a simple misinterpretation. Active listening also means listening for the underlying values and concerns. When someone says, "I just can't give up cheese," they're not just talking about a food item. They might be expressing a fear of missing out on social traditions, a concern about convenience, or a deep-seated attachment to comfort and pleasure. Instead of just hearing the surface-level statement, try to hear the deeper emotional need. You could respond with empathy, saying, "I understand that. For a long time, the thought of giving up certain foods felt really difficult for me too. It's tied to so many memories and traditions." This creates a connection. You're no longer two opponents on opposite sides. You're two people acknowledging a shared human experience. From that place of connection, you can then gently explore alternatives or share your own journey, but only after you've made them feel truly heard and understood. When you combine the Socratic method with active listening, a magical thing happens. The conversation transforms from a tug-of-war into a collaborative dance. You ask a thoughtful question. You listen deeply to the answer, reflecting it back to show you understand. You validate their feelings and underlying values. Then, you ask another gentle, curious question that builds on their response. You are guiding them, step by step, down a path of self-inquiry. This process requires patience. You will not change someone's lifelong habits and beliefs in a single 5-minute conversation. That is an unrealistic and unhelpful expectation. Your goal is not conversion, it's connection and contemplation. You are planting a seed. You may not be there to see it sprout, but you've tilled the soil and given it a chance to grow. It's also crucial to know when to gracefully end the conversation. If the other person is becoming visibly agitated, frustrated, or is no longer engaging in good faith, you are not obligated to continue. You can say something like, "I really appreciate you sharing your perspective with me. It's given me a lot to think about. Maybe we can pick this up another time." This allows both of you to exit the conversation with your dignity intact. You've preserved the relationship, which is always more important than winning a single point. Remember, every person you talk to is on their own unique journey. They have their own experiences, conditioning, and fears that shape their worldview. Our role as advocates for a kinder world is not to bulldoze over their perspective with our own. It's to act as compassionate guides, holding up a lantern of inquiry and inviting them to look. Think of yourself as a facilitator, not a fighter. You are creating a space for reflection. The conclusions they come to must be their own, if they are to be lasting. This path requires you to manage your own emotions. It's natural to feel frustrated or sad when confronted with views that seem to disregard the values you hold so dear. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself of your goal: connection, not conflict. Focus on your curiosity rather than your certainty. By adopting this mindset, you not only become a more effective advocate, but you also protect your own peace of mind. You can engage in these important conversations without feeling drained and discouraged. You can walk away knowing you represented your values with integrity, compassion, and intelligence. You've been a beacon of kindness, not just in your choices, but in your communication. The world doesn't need more anger and division. It needs more understanding, more curiosity, and more empathy. By using these tools, you can be a part of that positive change. Thank you for watching and for being willing to have these important conversations with grace. If you found this guide helpful and want more tips on compassionate communication and living, I'd be honored if you subscribe to the channel. Let's continue to learn and grow together at Be Kind Fair.